Paris, as mentioned earlier, former Minneapolis police officer Derrick Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 counts.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict, count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. Verdict, count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty.
Last night we spoke with 2 attorneys who have dealt with police misconduct cases from both sides. And tonight they join us again with their reactions. James Montgomery, attorney with James D. Montgomery and Associates, who handles cases of police brutality. And Dan Herbert, attorney with the Herbert law firm. He represented former Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke when he was on trial for the death of Laquan McDonald. Gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. And James Montgomery, very quickly, your reaction to today's verdict.
Delighted and surprised. Delighted because it is a precedent that I hope will be an indication that people will start to look at the facts and give the true results from those facts and promote justice for people. Surprised because my experience has been that if you have a number of Caucasian people on a jury and a police officer is at risk in a criminal prosecution, it is very difficult for them to find that person guilty. And so that I commend them, and I see that as a beacon of hope that in the future things may get better. That coupled with those folks who are out in the street expressing themselves and insisting that we have peace with justice.
Dan Herbert, your reaction to today's verdict?
I have a mixed reaction. I definitely believe that Derrick Chauvin is guilty of a crime, and I think that the jury properly found him guilty of a crime. But I have to comment that the process of this trial, I think that there was certainly a constitutional problem here, and that happened when Derrick Chauvin's request for a jury from a different county was denied. I mean, we had a courthouse that was surrounded by barbed wire, and there was military personnel and tanks on the scene. And for anyone to think that that didn't affect the jurors' decision-making, I think is naive.
James Montgomery, speaking of the jury was made up of 4 African Americans, 2 jurors who self-identified as multiracial, and 6 white jurors. Impact on deliberations, say, for example, would it have made a difference if the jury had not been that diverse?
I think it could have made a difference. On the other hand, you must look at this case as being very unique. Unique in the sense that the visual effects of that video was so dramatic that it would be difficult for anybody to justify finding him innocent. So, yeah, I think that the diversity helps. In my career, I've always wanted at least one African American on the jury so there could be no open discussion of racism. And the more, the merrier. But the problem as I see it now is that we've got to make sure that we keep this movement going that these young people have started. I agree with Dan that, it affects the jury. It affects everybody. It affects the entire community. As we've indicated, it affects the entire world, as we've seen all over the world, that there have been demonstrations on this whole issue of George Floyd's murder.
Dan Herbert, is this a case that's limited to the specifics of its own facts, or do you think it has the potential to have an impact on police conduct or the criminal justice system in general?
I think that Derrick Chauvin's actions in this case have done more to drive a wedge in between the relationship between police and the communities in which they serve. I think that for the most part, the police community recognized that Derrick Chauvin's actions were absolutely uncalled for. So I think this case might be more of an aberration towards a meaningful effect on law enforcement, because I think everyone recognized what this case was.
James Montgomery, an aberration, or you alluded to the fact that you hope that this might be some kind of a turning point?
Hope, on the other hand, I can't disagree with Dan, because if you look at historically what has happened in this country, is that police officers have a culture by which they disrespect Black and brown people, even disrespecting them to taking their lives or just running away from them. And if you think about it, you never read about police killing white people, nor do you hear about white people running from the police. They're not afraid of the police. The police are their friend. They preserve and protect them. The blacks, they surveil and harass them and disrespect them. So I don't think that this is going to be an overnight situation. It wasn't an overnight situation as it's come along. And as I see it, it is going to take a lot of cases like this. It is going to take a lot of $28 million settlements and costs that the city puts out before they think about it. What was happening here? This was Chauvin was the superior officer training younger officers in how to police. And that's why this system perpetuates itself. People like Chauvin training new recruits, indicating that this is okay to behave like he behaved.
Dan
So
Herbert, we're just about out of time. I'll give you the last word on what people should take away from this case, in your view.
Well, for the record, James, when I was a kid, I did run from the police. But as far as this case goes, I think that, we recognize this. Like I said, this case was an aberration. The acts were horrible. They were hard to justify. But I do want to emphasize that point. I think what we need to take away from this case is that everyone, no matter how unpopular a defendant is required to get a fair trial. And there's no way that anyone can argue that a jury can render a decision based solely on the facts that are presented in the case when they had so much overwhelming evidence of fear and danger that could come to them as a result of an unpopular verdict. We have to recognize that fact.
That is the kind of thing that very well might come up on appeal, and we shall be watching. Dan Herbert, James Montgomery, thank you both so much for your insights.
You're very welcome. Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.